Flashback to the top episodes of 2025. This is Jim Hamill, your host, and we met many people across the Pocono Mountains in 2025, and one of them has been farming for the better part of a century. Ellday Farm in Pleasant Mount is where Ellis Dix and his family have a multi-generational dairy farm, and we were able to share his story and his granddaughter's as part of AgroLegacy of the Northern Poconos. Here's a listen back to number 2 on the podcast. Enjoy.
It's just a great life and a way to raise your family. It's just so great.
The 89-year-old farmer who gets up before sunrise every day to keep his multi-generational farm running strong. Welcome to Pocono Mountains Podcast, everyone. This is episode 18 of season 5. I'm your host, Jim Hamill, and for this episode, I'm going to turn things over to PTN intern Zach Wilkin, who headed up production on this very special story. Enjoy.
This is Zach Wilkin. We visited Ellday Farm in Pleasant Mount, Wayne County. The dairy farm is where Ellis Dix has been farming since 1961, and over the years, his granddaughter Ashley, along with many other family members, have joined him in that effort. A lot has changed in those years, but the lessons Ellis Dix has learned along the way have contributed to the AgroLegacy of the Northern Poconos. AgroLegacy of the Northern Poconos certifies the food and farm products you buy with the AgroLegacy symbol are grown or produced right in Wayne County and support farms like Ellday Farm. More on that in just a bit. The Poconos is a year-round destination for millions, with 2,400 square miles of mountains, forests, lakes, and rivers, with historic downtowns and iconic family resorts. It's the perfect getaway for a weekend or an entire week. You can always find more on PoconoMountains.com or watch Pocono Television Network streaming live 24/7. Now, back to the episode. Ellday Farms is a family affair. Ellis's granddaughter Ashley plays a huge role at the farm by keeping the herd happy and healthy, while also waking up at 2 a.m. every day to get the milking done. Ashley and Ellis both live out the rich legacy of agriculture in Wayne County every single day, rain or shine. Watch the September Pocono Mountains magazine for a full story about what makes this way of life so rewarding to them. Until then, here's our full interview at Ellday Farm. Enjoy. Welcome to Pocono Mountains Podcast. I'm Zach Wilkin. I'm here with Ellis Dix at Ellday Farms in Pleasant Mount, Wayne County. So, Mr. Dix, could you tell me a little bit about some of the earliest memories you have working on the farm?
Well, I guess they go back to when we were on my dad rented my great-grandfather's farm up in Starlight. And I can remember back then and when he bought the first tractor, and it was like 1942, and we used to put the hay in loose back in those days. There was no baled hay. And he taught me to drive the tractor to pull the rope, to pull the hay up off the wagon into the mow. So that was my earliest tractor driving. And also we had this old cow that my dad taught me to milk. And there was a picture of me sitting on a half-bushel basket milking that cow before I went to school. So that was some of my earliest days back when we lived at Starlight.
That picture we saw, that was really cool to see from so long ago. So as I was driving in today, I saw a sign that said you've been farming here since 1961. Could you tell me a little bit about how you came to be here?
Well, I guess I have to come back from the Army in 1960. I married my wife Daisy, and we wanted our own farm. And the gentleman had health problems, so we managed to work out a deal with him. So I bought this farm, and we've been here since 1961. It's where we raised our family and where we have lived.
That's really special. So I noticed that you work a lot with 4-H still, back in the Wayne County Fair. Could you tell me a little bit about some of the reasons you stayed in the program to help, even though you've aged out?
Well, I like to see the kids. It's a great learning experience for them when they're in 4-H, because I was a 4-H kid too when I grew up. And some of my early memories go back to my 4-H and my FFA, which I took in school, because I took a vocational agriculture course in school, in high school.
Ashley was telling me that you still have your 4-H book from 1952, she said?
Yes, I have that, and I was a leader of the first tractor program that started in the county, and I have a book from that too, back when we started that. So I got a lot of early memories of 4-H, and it's a great thing for the young children, and still support them today.
Yeah, well, what did you raise from the book? What animal did you raise for the book that you have?
Well, it's hard to say, but my first calf was a registered Jersey calf,
okay,
which I purchased from the Ellday Farm.
So I read that you were named a master farmer. Could you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, back in 1989, somebody nominated me for the award of master farmer, and there was a lot of paperwork and things involved for it, but I did fill it out, and I was really shocked because they only give it to like 5 people or so in 5 states every year. So it was a great award for me and for my family, because they were a part of it as much as I was.
Absolutely, absolutely. So can you share a little bit more about how you and your wife built up your farm? Like, what was some of your favorite experiences from when you first started out here?
Well, when we started out, of course, we were poor, like most people are when they start out. And she was working at the Sears Roebuck catalog store in Holmesdale. And, of course, I was doing the farm work. And we worked together. And, like I say, she'd come to the barn and help feed the calves and all those kind of things that she was able to do through the years till our children got big enough so that they could help and keep the farm going.
Fair enough, fair enough. So have you heard about the AgroLegacy brand that's happening in Wayne County?
Yes, I have.
Yes, so could you tell me a little bit about what you think about the legacy of agriculture for the future of Wayne County?
Well, I think agriculture still has a future in Wayne County. I'm on the Ag Preservation Board, and we have a lot of farmland in Wayne County that has been preserved for the future of farming down the road. And I think agriculture is still here to stay in Wayne County. There's not as many dairy as there used to be, but there's a lot of beef animals they're coming to Wayne County now, and some horse farms. There's a lot of horses, so agriculture is here to stay in Wayne County.
So speaking of dairy farms, I don't know if people can tell, but we are here on a dairy farm right now. So could you explain to me a little bit why you chose to be a dairy farmer instead of the other different types of agriculture that you could have chosen?
I think it was because I was raised on a dairy farm, and I like dairy farming, and I guess it's been in my blood like it has for the last 9 generations down to my granddaughter.
Fair enough. What advice would you give to young people who wanted to get their start in agriculture today?
It's very difficult for a young couple to get started in farming because of the high cost of purchasing a farm equipment and all the needs that you have, and unless it's part of a family or something like that, it's so difficult for young people to get started today.
So what advice would you have for someone that wants to start in agriculture right now?
To get started? Well, I think there are some programs out there to help young people get started, especially in the state of Pennsylvania. And sometimes, if you got a family member who is doing it and they need somebody to pass that farm on to, why, it's a good opportunity for them if they like to do it. It's something you have to like to do.
Yeah, it's definitely not an easy profession to be a part of. So when you look back at your farming history up until today, what are some of the things that you're the most proud of?
Most proud of?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the accomplishments which we have made. And the big thing that I would say is that the changes that have been made in the dairy farming since I was a little boy up to today is just amazing as to how we handle the crops, how we feed the animals, and so many things have changed for the better over the years.
What are some of the things that have changed?
Oh, the way we put up the crops, it used to be done with a hay loader that we run the hay up onto the wagon. And then, like I said earlier, we used the rope and the old fork to lift the hay up in the hay mow. And then in the winter, we dug it out. And then along came the invention of the square hay baler. And that made things so much easier. And then for those of us who were grassland farmers, it was still tough with the weather we have to try to get hay dried down early in May when the quality is there. And then they come out with the round balers and the plastic wrap, which has helped tremendously in helping us get that forage in the barn. And as far as feeding the cows, they feed cows now. The production has just increased so much in my lifetime that it's just amazing. The way we breed cows years ago, you just had the bull on the farm, and then along came artificial insemination. That's all happened in my lifetime.
The farmer's version of AI, exactly.
First in AI,
yeah.
I took my course for doing it, and now my granddaughter does it.
So what are some of the most important life lessons you think that you've learned from being a farmer all these years?
Well, you're your own boss.
That's true.
The big thing. If you want to take a day off, you can do it. And you can make your own decisions. If they're wrong, you'll learn from it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a great life and a way to raise your family. It's just so great.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So with the fair coming up, what are some of the things that you do still with the Wayne County Fair?
I don't do as much as I did. I was a director, I believe, for 40-some years, and associate director before that. And when my last term come up, they wanted me to stay on for another term, but due to my age and my health, I stepped down, and my daughter-in-law is a director now, and she is a dairy superintendent, which I was for quite a few years. And I stepped down, and now my granddaughter is an associate director. So yeah, I'm still down there. It was a part of life for so many years, and it was a great way for the public to come and see the animals and to see what agriculture is all about. Is very important.
So with AgroLegacy coming to be more prevalent in the area, what do you think some of the things people should be looking out for AgroLegacy are in the future?
Well, I think it's a good program to help get our products and agriculture out before the general public, and I think we need to do a lot more of that to make people aware of what we have here in Wayne County, to promote that to the general public.
So, Mr. Dix, you're 88 and a half years old. You're still farming around every day. Could you take me through what a normal day looks like for you?
Well, I rise, like I said, get my breathing going, get my cup of coffee, and get out there and get the cows in, and I feed the calves. That's one of my big jobs I do. Get the milking equipment ready for them to milk, and I wash the milkers at the end. And on the milk truck days, we just put the cows out in the barnyard, and then when daylight comes, we move the fence twice a day out in those paddocks for those cows to eat. And my job is to move the fence on that particular day and take the cattle across the road to where they graze. And when we're haying, my son's on the milk truck. If there's hay to mow, Ted or bale, I'm out there in the field.
How many dairy cows do you have on the farm?
I think there's like 50 plus.
Is that the most you've ever had, or when you were?
No, we run a second shift in here in the summertime so we can milk some new heifers that we got, and then we call out some of the old cows before winter comes.
So what breed of cattle do you have here?
We have Holstein and Brown Swiss, which was not my idea. That was my granddaughter loves the Brown Swiss. That's why we have them. So
what breed would be your choice?
Well, when I bought this farm, there were 4 Brown Swiss in the cattle that were here when I bought here. And like I told them, I said, I learned my lesson very early in life with Brown Swiss. If the milk house door was open and they were anywhere handy, they'd walk right in the milk house. So they're nice cows, though. They lead the pack. They're the leaders of the herd. They're the first to cross the road.
So the different breeds have very different personalities.
Oh yeah, those Brown Swiss they're very calm. You know, they don't get excited and slow, but they love to show them though.
So if you got to choose, what would be the breed you'd have?
Pardon?
If you got to choose, what would be the breed you'd have?
I'd probably take the Holsteins. We have a lot of red and white Holsteins too, but I guess I've kind of favored them over the years. But we get along with the brown ones. You know.
I think that's something that a lot of people don't really realize, that about how much farmers care about keeping their animals happy and healthy. Because you could probably attest to how important it is to keep a cow able and on its feet and ready to be milked every day. Could you speak a little bit on that?
A happy cow is a good cow.
Exactly.
Let's say it that way. They're eager to come in the barn, get their grain and forage that we feed them in there, and you don't have to go after them most of the time, because they know when 2 o'clock comes. That's when they go in the barn, and they're ready to go in and get milked, and like I say, get their grain and keeps them happy.
Welcome to Pocono Mountains Podcast. This is Zach Wilkin here with Ashley Nemzadowski at Ellday Farms in Pleasant Mount Wayne County. Ashley, could you tell us a little bit about these lovely ladies here behind us?
Absolutely. So this is my pride and joy. These are our milking herd. I have about 47 in my milking herd right now. Black and white Holsteins, red and white Holsteins, and brown Swiss. So right now they're out to pasture. They spend a majority of their day just eating and sleeping, and making milk. So right now this is when all the magic happens.
Could you take me through the process of one of your average milk days here?
Absolutely. So early start, certainly. We wake up around 2. We cross the cows and send them down to the barn. At that point, we start the feeding process, which is also, as you can see, these are large animals, so they consume a lot of food and drink a ton of water, and that's what makes the milk. So a lot of work goes into what you get, you know, that final product. So once they get in the barn, we get them fed. That's when we begin milking, which takes about, with this number of cows, about 2 hours. And then they start their day all again. They go back across the road, start eating pasture, and like I said, spend their day eating, drinking, and just relaxing, living the good life, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So you were telling us earlier that you are a 9th generation farmer?
I am so proud to say I'm a 9th generation farmer. Pretty unique life I think I live. You know, it's not everyone that can say that you work alongside your grandfather and your father every day. You know, it's a different connection. You know, we have quite the team here. My whole family, you know, chips in and, you know, makes the effort, because this certainly does take a lot of effort. But we all are very passionate about what we do. So that's what makes us wake up in the morning at 2 o'clock in the morning and have a long day, you know.
Absolutely.
We do the same thing at 2 in the afternoon, you know, twice a day. It's a lot of, you know, just putting a lot of time, a lot of effort, and, you know, everything's always changing. Every day, you know, we might have a new calf, or, you know, it's just a lot of motion, a lot of things in gear here. So
yeah, birth and death.
Birth and death, right? Yeah. You know, it's a pretty unique connection that I have with these cows too. You know, I'm there the moment they're born, and a lot of the time I'm there for the end, you know. So you get quite the bond with the animals that you work with, and you're working with them every day.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I said before, they're kind of like big dogs. They all have a unique personality, you know. A lot of the time they're into things they shouldn't be, you know. It's just, you can have a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah. So what's the typical lifespan here?
So we've had some old girls. Our oldest to date, she lived to be 21.
Oh, wow.
And she was still working to the very end. So it's pretty impressive. On average, though, we probably usually spend around 9 to 10 years with a cow. So again, it's a long history,
Yeah.
you know.
Very long time. Very long time. So as you know, AgroLegacy is happening here in the Northern Poconos. Could you tell me a little bit about what you think the future of agriculture could be in Wayne County?
Yeah, so I think AgroLegacy is just a great program, and you know, I'm a hometown girl, so I take a lot of pride in my hometown, Wayne County. So I think it's great that we're making an effort to just kind of broadcast this greatness that we have right here in Wayne County. I think that things have changed here a lot over. You know, my grandfather's 88 years old, so I would say in his lifespan, things have made drastic changes. Even in my lifespan, over 5 years, over 10 years, things change. But I think it's all for the best. You know, I think that we all just keep doing different things to just keep up with the times. And, you know, there might not be as many big dairy farms in the area, but you still have a lot of rich agriculture in the area. People want to have their little small farms and trying to have like one cow that they're going to feed their family with. And I think it's great that it's still alive. You know, it's still a part of so many people's life because it is a really unique way of living. It
Yeah.
really is.
Absolutely. So what are some of your favorite dairy products?
Oh, I love them all. In this hot weather, ice cream every day. You have to.
Absolutely.
It's summer. Why not, right?
Absolutely.
But every day we all drink raw milk, so we're taking it straight from the cow and consuming that milk. We all drink milk every day here. Yogurt for breakfast, you know, all the things. Cottage cheese. I could go on. I love it. Who doesn't love cheese? All
point.
cheese is amazing.
Yeah.
Do you make any of those things?
We
I've
don't,
made yogurt
no. I was
before.
gonna
I
say,
think you
now
make
we
yogurt
make
for
our
you.
own, yes, like a little yogurt I've practiced on. I've tried attempted cottage cheese.
That's
It
a
keeps
tricky
getting
one.
better, it's tricky.
Yeah.
We really enjoy making homemade ice cream too. You know, takes all day, but it's a lot of fun and it tastes just some more better when you make it yourself, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So what are some of your earliest memories here on the farm?
So as soon as I could walk, basically, I came out here and I took right to it. This is my comfort zone. This is my happy place. So I remember getting cows with my grandfather. You know, somebody has to tromp out here and get them to move, especially in heat like this. You know, they don't always want to cooperate and move. So bringing cows to the barn, feeding calves, I feel like that was always a chore for the young kids, that you'd get a bucket of milk and have to go try to feed a calf. And and sometimes that could be tricky too. Like I said, they have quite the personality, and some of them are pretty strong-willed. So
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So being on a farm your entire life, you've obviously learned a lot. What are some life lessons you think you've brought with you from agriculture into your life?
I would say still learning even. I think that's, you know, also the beauty of it. You know, I think even my grandfather could say every day he's learning something new or, you know, acquiring a new ability and whatnot. But I was big into 4-H, so certainly, you know, growing up on the farm, going through the 4-H program, it teaches you a lot of responsibility and dedication. And I think that's, you know, pretty, I every day, you know, I work outside of the farm as well. I have a full-time job at a vet hospital, and just your work ethic, you know, it really just changes your mindset on responsibility and just giving it your all. So
What did you raise when you were in 4-H?
dairy cows,
Figured.
obviously. Yeah. Did a lot of gardening projects. I enjoyed rubbing elbows with your ancestors, where you'd go and do etches of old tombstones. So again, it's just kind of teaching a lot of history, a lot of just kind of connecting with your past. Yeah, so pretty neat.
Yeah, your grandfather was telling us about how he has a 4-H book from 1952. Do you have any from
I
your
do,
childhood?
yes. We're a family of savers or
Mhm.
hoarders, some people would say, I guess, right? But it is rich history, you know. It is something that you can look back on and say, yeah, you know, reflect back on things you did and how it's changed today. So,
Yeah, agriculture in Wayne County has definitely got a great legacy,
mhm.
agro-legacy there, I guess. So the future of farming in Wayne County, where do you think it's headed?
I hope for the best, you know. I would like to keep my little corner of the world going, you know, and doing what I can to keep it alive and well. And again, I think you'll just start seeing changes in smaller, but even maybe just, you know, self-sufficient farms, you know, raising your own products and living off the land, I think is where the direction we're kind of headed in, which is a great lifestyle.
So Ashley, what do you think of the legacy your grandfather has impacted the area and you specifically as well?
He's my idol. I think he's a pretty unique man. I mean, you talked with him this morning, lots of stories, lots of history. Like I said, there's not much he doesn't know, you know? He can sit down and have a conversation about just anything, and I hope I make him proud, you know? I strive to be, you know, as knowledgeable and take as good care of the cows as he did his entire life. So, yeah, it's like I said, a pretty unique connection that we all have, and it's nice that we all get to work together and really strong family connection, you know?
Hmm. So what are some of the lessons that he's taught you in your time here?
Don't get don't get discouraged, you know, like I said, certainly there's days here that it can be frustrating, you know, things can go wrong, things break, you know. You can have unhealthy cows, you know, certainly every day isn't sunshine and, you know, a beautiful day, and so you just kind of go on, plug through and don't get discouraged. Wake up the next day and know it's a new day to carry on and make changes, learn from your mistakes, and like I said, certainly I think the good days outweigh the bad, and that's what matters. So,
Ellday Farm in Pleasant Mountain. Watch for the full story on the September Pocono Mountains magazine. Thanks for listening to Pocono Mountains Podcast. We will have a new episode each week highlighting lots of the fun things you can experience while you're visiting the Poconos here in Pennsylvania. Subscribe to Pocono Mountains Podcast and leave a review and comment on whatever platform you listen. AgroLegacy of the Northern Poconos. Learn more at agrolegacy.org. We hope you enjoyed Pocono Mountains Podcast. AgroLegacy of the Northern Poconos. Learn more at agrolegacy.org. We hope you enjoyed Pocono Mountains Podcast. Please remember to subscribe anywhere podcasts are available. Come visit us in the Pocono Mountains. Plan your trip today.